Yay! We're live. Sige, I'll inform everyone. Live na po tayo. Alright, okay. Yan, sige. Hi guys, so magsa-start na po tayo ng ating live stream for our weekly online class mentor program. So ang ating guest for today, na napakagandang friend ko who's actually based she's actually based in Cagayan de Oro, and she's actually I think I mentioned to you the other day then guys na she's also a co-founder of a real estate application called Rookie Technologies. She's also a real estate agent. Tama ba? Real estate, licensed real estate
Yes, realty
agent.
broker.
Yes. Yeah, real estate broker. Ayan, madami na pinagdaanan ng negosyo si Steph. And she's actually, she just celebrated her baby shower. Tama, baby shower. Ay, baby reveal, gender reveal last Saturday. So congratulate natin siya sa sa pagiging mommy na. Malapit na maging mommy. So tama yung hula ko. It's a baby girl. So yun. So similar to she'll be talking about where to find ideas to make money. And so this is actually one of your requests for your online class. As usual, just put your questions on the comment section, on the chat section of YouTube, and then she will try her best to answer everything that you guys ask. So it's a very interactive naman. So pag may mga tanong kayo, just ask away. So yun, I'll leave the floor to Steph. Ikaw na Steph, ikaw na yung bahala.
All right, thanks,
Sige, so
Gia.
i-greet niyo na lang siya sa class niya. So para para alam niya na you are paying attention. Baka hindi kayo nag-pay attention, lagot kayo sa akin. Sige. Alright. Alis na ako sa live stream. Babalik ako mamaya.
Aalis ka talaga.
Hindi, ka lang. Papatayin ko lang yung camera tsaka i-mute ko lang. Papampagulo lang ako. Sige. See you guys. Enjoy.
All right. All right, so hello everyone. Good afternoon to you all. Before I introduce myself, siguro I'd like to get to know you guys more. When Gian invited me to speak in this session this afternoon, hello Nestle. Yung may binigay siya ng mga topics. Like, there was a range of topics that you guys were interested in. And there were a couple of topics that I could relate to, like particularly in like closing sales or more on the business side, startup. But there was this one topic that kind of jumped out at me. And it was where to find ideas to make money. So parang it's an interesting topic, and I realized na parang, this is something that I want to talk about, something that I want to share with you guys. So bakit ba ganun? Why is it out of all the topics, this was the one that I chose? So the reason for that is not because na sobrang yaman ko na, hindi, but rather it just jumped up to me because I kind of found myself in that same situation like 10 years ago. I had this very same question, where do I find money? Like 10 years ago, this was something that I asked myself. So yung mga tao who asked this question, I feel like I could relate to them. So sino bang nagtanong nito? Like who asked this question? And parang why did you ask this question? I want to know about that from you guys. So before anything else, pwede mo magtanong, how old are you guys? I want to know, what's your age right now? What's your age group? Parang I can get to know this group better. So please feel free to comment. Huwag nang mahiya sa age natin. Or you can just put in a range. Like, are you still in your teens? Are you in your early 20s? Are you in your mid 20s? Or ano na ba tayo? 25 to 30?
Natawa ko dun lagay niyo sa range.
Kasi baka mahiya, di ba? So, wala nang mahiya. Range na lang, di ba? 21, all right. Hi, Ms. Nestle. Thanks for answering. How about for the rest? 20
last 3 years.
Okay lang yan. Yung 20 ko, ang tagal na. That was a long, long time ago. 20 ko. Sige, ano pa? Kahit one more.
Si Denise.
Ah, parang nahiya yata si Denise.
Ayaw sabihin.
Range lang, range. Kahit range. 20 to, 20 to 30. Layo ng range. Oh. Well, anyway, so it seems like the ones who answered are still in your early 20s. And this is exactly the age group that I was thinking of na probably these are the people who are asking this question. Tama yung hula ko because 10 years ago, I was around that age in my early 20s. So yun din yung tanong ko sa sarili ko. Where do I find money? Oh, 16 to 25 po. Pwede na. Pwede na. So, tama yung hula ko na this is the age group who is asking this kind of question. Kasi back then, eto din yung tanong ko sa sarili ko eh. So, I feel like I could relate to you guys. So, instead of telling you exactly where to find money or where to find ideas to make money, I feel like it would be more appropriate for me to share with you principles on how to find money. Parang yung principles will work better than me just telling you na, oh, eto, pumunta kayo dito, or you try this kind of business, or you do this. Because the reason is we all have different skills, we all have different backgrounds, we all have different opportunities that are available to us. And it's just a matter of us kind of finding out and discovering within ourselves kung ano yung nababagay sa akin and what opportunities are available to me right now that I can grab, that I can take hold of, that I can use to make money. So, ayan. So, we're going to talk about principles on how to find money. And the way that I'm going to share this with you guys is I'm going to relate it in parang sort of story of my life. But the reason bakit ganon is because I feel like you could learn more through stories, and at the same time, you can get ideas and you can get principles from the decisions that I've made long ago, and you can also kind of apply it to yourself. So it doesn't have to be na you follow what I'm doing, but more on what are the principles behind it? Bakit ba ganun yung decision? What were the right things that I did and what were the wrong things that I did? So I'm also gonna share with you guys kung ano yung mali na nagawa ko before, so you don't have to go through that anymore. So bakit ba natanong ko yung question na yan? So I'm gonna share with you a quick roadmap ng buhay ko, ng career. So I actually graduated nursing in 2008. So back then kasi yung nursing was boom na boom. Super boom. Like all of my classmates in high school took up nursing because that was the course that could easily bring you to the promised land, shall we say. So back then, yung high school ko, I wanted to do business, but hindi pa masyadong solidified sa sarili ko that I was gonna do business. So I wasn't really quite sure. So I just followed the trend, and it was also the advice of my parents na mag-nursing. So I did that. So nag-graduate naman ako ng nursing. And the funny thing is, as soon as I graduated, and I started working a little bit sa hospital, that's when I realized na ayoko pala ng nursing. Yung feeling na, oh my gosh, I kept looking at the clock, just waiting for the time to end. Yung parang yung shift ko was 7 to 3, and I was always looking at the clock, waiting for 3 o'clock to come in para maka-out na. And then when you're looking at your schedule and you're just checking, saan ba yung free, yung day off ko? So I kind of realized that early on, parang this is not the life that I want to live. So around 2010, I decided to quit nursing. And you know how it is when you've worked so many years in that course, you've had your life sort of set out in front of you, but then all of a sudden, biglang nawala yan. Like, it's not the place for me pala. So that was the time when I really asked myself, okay, if I'm not gonna do nursing, then what am I gonna do? And it's not just what am I gonna do, right? Where am I gonna find money? Like, what career am I gonna embark on now? What am I supposed to do now to be able to provide for myself? Because let's face the reality. hindi tayo lahat maraming pera at the start, or we don't have a lot of money or a lot of capital to start with. Hindi tayo rich kids, or at least hindi man ako particularly rich kid to just have all of the opportunities available to me. So, kaya yung question na yun, where do I find money? Yun talaga yung nasa mind ko back in 2010. So, what happened later on? So, in 2011, I became a real estate broker. That's when I passed the real estate board. And in 2012, we put up our own real estate firm. Masyadong fast forward ang timeline, ano? In 2018, nag-open kami ng co-working space cafe. And then in 2019, that's when we founded our property technology startup called Brookie Technologies. So 2021 na tayo ngayon, and we're still getting there. So back then, nung sa panahon na nag-nursing pa ako, yung question ko talaga was, am I in the right place? Like, I wasn't feeling that I was in the right place talaga. I was dreading the next duty. I was dreading the next day. And sana hindi kayo ganito yung situation nyo as I was back then. So, there are people I'm sure you've heard of na they've graduated from a different course, but then they took up their business right now is completely different from the course that they graduated in. So yun yung tanong ko sa sarili ko, am I in the right place? So as for you guys, gusto ko lang malaman, why are you asking this question? Where do I find money? Bakit kayo nakatanong nito? Like, what made you ask this question? Kung ako, back then, it was because the career path that I was supposed to be in, I realized hindi pala yun. So that's why I needed to find a new career path and I needed to find new ways to make money. I'd like to hear from you guys. Why did you ask this question? Like, baka may iba dyan who have been working in another job and then you want another source of income. Pwedeng ganun. Or baka yung iba, they might be also just graduated and naghahanap ng job that suits yung course ninyo, or you might be looking for another avenue. So I'd like to hear from you guys, ano yung reasons ninyo? Kasi yung reason ko, I just shared it with you. But yung reason ko is not your reason. I want to know your reasons so that the way that I can share the talk this afternoon, it will be in line with what you guys need. So, hihintayin ko yung comments ninyo. Because I want to hear from you guys. Well, wala nang mahiyahan. Nobody should be shy. Interactive tayo kasi mas masaya yung ganon. So, while they're thinking about it, Gian, ikaw, did you ask yourself this question back then? Andyan pa ba si Gian?
No. If I ask my question, ay, wait. Tada! Hello? Narinig mo ako? Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Ayan, can you hear me? Tada!
Yes.
Yes. Ba't nawala yung sound mo? Ba't nawala ka? Hindi kita narinig.
Oh, really? Ngayon?
Hello?
Okay na?
Hindi kita marinig. Bakit di kita marinig?
Hello?
But you can hear me? You can hear me?
Yes.
Ano yung reason? Reason ko? Hirap naman ng mga tanong mo.
Did
Grabe.
you ask that question before? And what was the reason why you asked that question?
Ano ba reason ko? Hindi ko alam.
Baka hindi ka nakatanong sa question na yan kasi
ayusin ko lang yung Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear? Wala. Ba't ako hindi kita marinig? Nangyari? What happened? I'll be back. May call lang ako. May phone call. Wait lang.
Oh, sige, sige. So for the rest of you guys, baka nahiya lang kayo. But I'm sure you already have that in your mind. Like, there must be a reason why you're asking that question, right? Like, where do I find money? Are you just looking for an extra source of income? Or are you looking for your career path talaga? Especially for those who are still in the younger range of the 20s, like the 2021. I think that's the usual question. It's more on career path then. So aside from having extra income. So I want you guys to kind of ask yourself, why am I asking this question? Like, what's the reason why I'm asking this question? So yung tip number 1 ko for everyone is to give yourself room to explore. Alam mo yung feeling na sometimes you really don't know what you're supposed to do just yet, like, or you don't know where to get an extra source of income, or you don't know what you're supposed to be doing just yet. Don't worry and give yourself room to explore. So what do I mean by that? Before, about 10 years ago, I also tried different rackets before I found the right path. So, ang dami kong mga racket noon. But the thing is, tayo kasi mga Pinoy, di ba, when we see someone who's still looking for the right path, tapos gumagawa ng iba't ibang racket nila, there's a certain stigma that's kind of attached to it na parang, oh, iba naman yung ginagawa niya, no? Ano naman yung ginagawa niyan? She's now engaged in this or she's doing this now. Parang ganun. The thing is, don't worry about them. Don't worry about the haters. So if you're still in that stage where you're finding out what's a great source of income for me or what's the right career path for me, don't worry about people thinking na parang ba't ang daming pinapasukan yan? Because you have to give yourself room to explore, that you can try out different things before you settle on the right path. So, normal lang talaga yan. So for me, ito yung mga iba't ibang racket na nagawa ko way back in 2010. So the first one is naka-try ako ng MLM or multi-level marketing. Probably because mo then so may stigma din yung MLM. Legit marketing. You just have to ask the question, is this earning or might be a problematic yung MLM na yan. This MLM has a problem in and at the same time yung ikaw you have conviction person. Parang gusto ko siyang gawin. So yung isa in loading yata. Ayan. Connection. Ayan. So there's someone who's in the like the core of the company is really good. The products are really good. Ways to succeed. I've seen some have been years and they really succeeded in that. So MLMs out there, just choose the legit ones. Choose the legit ones. That's definitely succeed. Like I said, have levels, we have different appetites, opinions. So for me, hindi nag-work yung MLM kasi hindi ko magbenta ng and I so bagong kumpanya no on the page they were asking to join the cast yung sa agriculture. Like, I was only relying on this one person who was telling me that this is what I should do, this is what parang the mix should be of the soil, ganon, ganon. So, I tried that. Tapos, medyo marami pa nga yung tinanim ko eh. But, it really failed. And that's one of the things that I will share with you guys is you have to really know what you're doing. Especially if you want to invest like a certain amount of money. So these are just some of the things that I did before. And right now we're already in 2021. So there's so much more. I'm sure kayo din, marami na kayong mga ideas or things that you can think of na this is a potential money maker. Back then, wala pang e-commerce. It wasn't yet a thing. Yung Lazada and Shopee, wala pang ganun. Drop shipping, wala pang ganun. So there's a lot more opportunities now that's available than it was before. But I'm just sharing this with you guys because yung point ko lang is ang dami kong racket before. And that's completely okay. Because some people will say, parang some people will discourage you to try different things. But when you're still starting out, when you're still like finding your place and finding also kung saan talaga kayo lalago, where you can really make like a solid business out of it or a solid parang career path out of it, it's okay to try things. It's okay to do certain rackets until you find the right path. So, eto, for this particular tip, siguro yung action point ninyo. What racket can I do right now? So, ask yourself, what resources are available to me? What skills do I have? And what can I do to make money while spending at the lowest cost? Ako am an advocate of really parang when you're still starting out, when you're still finding yourself, don't spend a lot of money just yet. And at the same time, kaya nga tayo nagtatanong sa question na ito is, where do I find money? Is, kaya nga wala tayong pera eh. So we really have to find ways na yung low capital ways. So I'd like to hear from the group, like maybe you can just put in what skills you have or what resources you have. Kahit hindi yung lahat i-answer ninyo. Can I see you guys in the comments kung ano yung something that you feel like skill mo? Please don't be shy. Kung pang-isipan ko, the reason why gumawa ako ng mga shirts noon is I enjoyed drawing back then or parang scribbling back then. So, gumawa ako ng sarili kong design because I felt like that's something I knew how to do. Tapos, pinaprint ko lang siya on a shirt. And then, that's when, started selling those. So, that was a skill set that I had. So, obviously, I'm not in that industry anymore right now. But it was something that I did before. So, how about for you guys? Like, anong skills ninyo? What skills do you guys have right now? Napaka-quiet naman. Kaya ko magmahal na di binabalik sa Grabe. Grabe namang answer. So, si Bench, sabi niya photography. So, 'di ba? Pwede yan, yung photography. You can totally make money out of that. Wala pang nabibuild na skills. Baka akala mo lang yan. Akala mo lang wala. Sometimes you feel like wala pa, but it's really right there. It's just there with you. So, yung isa din na nagawa ko, which I'm gonna share later in the later tips, is I was also into freelancing. I was an article writer. So, hindi naman ako skilled. Like, back then, I was not trained, up until now, I wasn't trained to be a writer. Pero I had like the skill enough to write. So, may communication skills ako when I was younger. So, I'm sure you also have those skills na hindi mo lang ma-realize na meron pala ako nito. Like, you're not aware na, oh, I can do this pala. So, go ahead and think about it. Think about it. What resources are available to you? By resources, it can be as simple as may laptop ako. May laptop ako, may camera ako, may phone ako, smartphone ako. Those are resources. Those are tools. What skills do I have? Like, do I have a skill of communication? Can I speak well? Can I write well? Yung photography, that's a skill. Can I edit videos? Or am I good enough parang virtual assistant? Can I be a virtual assistant? Do I have the skill of connecting with people? Connecting with people can be pwede yan sa sales, pwede yan sa sales. So there's a lot of soft skills kay Bale. Like, it doesn't have to be like the hard skills like coding. Pero skill din yan, of course, di ba? Magaling ako mag-code. Ganun. So, there's a lot of soft skills na pwede nyo pa rin gamitin yan. O baka you realize in yourself na medyo business-minded ako. You have that ability to make money out of opportunities. So, pwede rin yan. That can be a skill. Magaling sa Canva. Yeah! Pwede yan! Diba? Pwede yan. There's a lot of industries ngayon. Kasi uso na yung digital marketing, diba? Marami nang dahil sa pandemic. So, everything is now marketed online. So, kung magaling ka sa Canva, then maybe you can make like marketing materials for a certain company. You can start with that. So, it doesn't have to be na masyadong malaki yung pera right away, right? So, the point is to get things started. And in the later on tips, you're gonna see how that will kind of snowball for you. So yung tip number 2 ko is to read books and attend seminars. So this one, I cannot stress enough how important it is to read books. So parang baka wala lang siya sa inyo, but this tip really got me in the path where I am right now. So, bakit ganyan? So, these are some of the books that I read before, except sa Atomic Habits because that's new. But, eto talaga, yung Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that was the book that changed it all for me. So, OG yan. That's like a super classic. That's a classic book talaga that a lot of the people right now, yung mga entrepreneurs, whenever they kind of go back to their roots, they would mention this book as well. So parang naisip ko, oh, I'm not alone sa book na ito. So this book kind of changed things for me because it opened up my mind. It made me realize a few things. And if you're not a reader, because I know there are some people who say na, I'm not very good with reading books. There are super easy books to read. Like, for example, ito yung Eight Secrets of the Truly Rich. I haven't read this in a really long time, but I do remember this is one of the books that I read before. And it's great for those who are still starting out and for those who find it hard to read because manifest lang tong book. This is super easy read. And then another book na I think shaped the thinking of a lot of people is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So there's so many more books that you guys can explore. And these are the entrepreneurial books that kind of changed my mindset. So for example, eto. This is what we call the cash flow quadrant. So this is what was featured on the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. Isa ito is may quadrant siyang na show, which is the EBSI quadrant. So E is employee. You have a job. So sorry, hindi masyadong clear yung slide. But yun niya lang yung nakita kong photo eh. So employee, you have a job. And your time is equal to the money that you have. Yung self-employed naman is you own a job. Your time is still equal to money, pero wala ka ng employer. You're your own boss. So yung business owner, eto na, this is where things start to change. When you have a business and you have a system and you have people working with you, so instead of just yourself, instead of just your time being invested to make money, you now have people working with you. So yung compounded na time ninyong lahat will now create that money. And then lastly, the last quadrant is investor. You own investments wherein your money will make money. So hindi ba masaya yon? If you compare the employee quadrant to the investor quadrant, makita mo talaga yung difference. Sa employee or also in the self-employed category, is it's your time and your effort that's making money. In the investor quadrant, it's your money that's making money. So for us to go to that I quadrant, to the investor quadrant, kailangan muna natin gumawa ng pera. And that's the reality. So it's okay if you're still starting out at the E quadrant, and even if you want to stay there, because I know that there's a lot of high-paying corporate jobs, and if that's the path that you choose and that's where you're good at, then go ahead. That's completely fine. But at the same time, you can be an employee and have investments as well. And for me naman, the path that I took is I skipped the E part. I went right to the S. I went right to S, to self-employed, and then to the B quadrant. And I also have investors. So, andito ako sa SBI. I'm in SBI quadrants. So, yun nga, it started kasi with reading that book, yung Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that got me to have this kind of mindset. Oops. Ayan. So, books can open your mind to principles that can change your life. So, you might think na, we might take books for granted now, especially with social media. It's always taking up our time. So instead of always being on social media, why not take the time to read books? And I tell you, that's really gonna be very good for you. So ano na yung nangyari? From reading the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, it actually led me to real estate. Kasi doon sa book na yun, it was, real estate was kind of highlighted there. And yung background ko kasi kung bakit it was easy for me to adapt to real estate is because my grandfather owns a lot of commercial buildings in our city. And nakikita ko siya. He's not doing anything. Or he wasn't back then. So, wala siyang ginagawa, but he receives money every month. And that's what we call passive income. So, parang nakita ko yan and I'm like, gusto ko yan. I want that. Yung parang, you have real estate properties that is providing income for you every month. So, kahit anong gawin mo, that's what you call passive income. And that was the mindset that I was in kung bakit ako pumasok sa real estate. And I couldn't have had that mindset if I didn't read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. If that book didn't open my mind, I probably would not be where I am today. So yung photo na yan, that was actually me in Manila because I decided to attend a real estate seminar in Manila. Remember, I'm from Mindanao. So at the time, may nakita lang akong, I think it was a post or an event, something na merong real estate seminar in Manila. And it was sort of a parang may challenge siya na it was a seminar plus may challenge siya that you have to be in a group, may challenge kayo. And that started it all for me. Yes, tama si Miguel. Yung passive income, hintay na lang ng pera. That's where you want to go. So, dyan ako nakastart sa real estate journey ko. So, in that seminar, strangely enough, that's where I also met my future business partners. Because I'm from Iligan City, in Mindanao, and there were these two girls who were there who were from Cagayan de Oro. And there we had this common friend, and he told us, you know what, you're from Iligan, me and my other friend were from Iligan. These two girls, they're from Cagayan de Oro. Why don't you guys join forces? And it was because of that seminar na we were able to create our realty firm. So that's how things kind of snowball. So I just wanted to let you guys know na yung maliit ninyo na action, you never know when that one will snowball into something bigger. And for me, that was really, in a way, life-changing seminar. It was just a simple decision na, okay, I want to try real estate. May seminar ako nakita. Let me join the seminar. And the next thing I knew, I found my business partners. And our realty is now, next year, 10 years na kami. It's a 10-year realty firm. This is my first business. And don't worry about the capital. Alam mo yung capital namin when we started, 2,000 pesos each. So it was 10,000 pesos to create our corporation, our realty firm corporation. So hindi kailangan ng maraming pera to get started with a business. You can actually start even with just a small amount of capital. So yun, it started with a book. Yan. So you never know kung ano yung mangyayari. So, question ko sa inyo, what book will I start reading today to open up opportunities in my mind? So I'm gonna give you guys a little time to think of a book, or if you want to read one of the books that I suggested, comment that, and kukunin ko muna yung charger ng laptop kung nasan ba yun. Naka-live ako tang hahanap ng charger. Wait lang. Comment kayo ha.
O, so yan guys, mag-comment muna tayo lahat. Miguel, ikaw, anong tanong mo? Anong book na babasahin mo, Miguel? Ha? Pero si Benj, tanong natin si Benj. Benj, anong babasahin mo na libro? Wag newspaper. Atomic Habits daw kay Miguel.
Maganda yan. Atomic Habits is a very good book. I would totally suggest it.
Tapos yun, nasimulan na daw ni Benj yung ano, yung nasimulan na niya yung ano, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Kaso di pa tapos. Okay lang.
Dami ko na nabasang libro eh. Pero I think the book that I like is ano, uh, Not Giving a Fuck.
I haven't read that yet.
Tsaka yung
I'll add
First Smile. I really love the First Smile, the book. Especially for
it.
startup founders.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
First Smile.
So let's go to tip number 3. So my tip number 3 is take the leap in a practical way. So what do I mean by that? So for me kasi, it was a very big decision to stop nursing altogether. Because if you think about it, it's something that I studied for 4 years, took the board exam, and a lot of time in my life was invested in that. And suddenly, ayoko na. I realized na it's not for me. So I had to take that leap. But in a practical way. So bakit naman in a practical way? Let's face the reality. Wala tayong pera, right? Like when we're starting out, wala tayong pera, kaya nga tayo naghahanap. So you take that leap, but you do it in a practical way. So how did I do that? I wanted to go into the real estate business. But when you're starting out with an endeavor kasi, I cannot expect myself to suddenly make sales, consistent sales in real estate. So although I took the brokerage exam, I became a real estate broker, parang hindi naman realistic na right away by the next month may sale. So hindi. So in order to sustain myself, what I did was I became an article writer. Back then, Odesk pa yun. Hindi pa siya Upwork. So ngayon, Upwork na siya. And I'm sure there's a lot of other sites out there for freelancers. And I know this is a really good way to earn money then. I know that as a freelancer, you can earn a lot. You can earn in dollars. So this is another path that you can take too. You can try being a freelancer if it fits you. And yung nakuha ko yung job was being an article writer kasi nga I had the skill to write articles. So parang marunong ako magsulat konti. Hindi naman yung masyadong high level writing. Yung funny lang is back then SEO was super uso eh. And the SEO was kahit just you fill up your website with all of the keywords. That's how it worked before. I'm sure right now that's not how it works anymore. But since that was the trend, yung job ko was to write as long as parang the employer would give me yung keywords na dapat kong i-include sa article, and I would make a lot of articles. So back then, being highest paid ko na article was like $15 per article, and that was in a psychiatric na article. So since I was a nurse as well, so I had a background, so it was easy for me to write those articles din. So parang minsan I was like writing that article and thinking para akong medical professional dito, hindi naman. But ayun, I earned like $15 per article back then. So there was a time in my life when I would really write articles all day, every day. And it really goes hand in hand with hard work. That's something that I will really say. Now, once you start to find your career path, you have to put in the work. You have to work hard, but at the same time, work smart. Work smart, not just work hard. So this was how I was able to sustain myself while I was getting better in the real estate industry. So while I was learning how to sell properties, how to parang get clients, it's not easy. So yung sa akin pala, I'm from Iligan City, and it's not wala masyadong real estate development there. So the neighboring city, which is an hour and a half away, that's Cagayan de Oro, dun yung mga developments. So whenever I would have a client, I would actually ride the bus going to CDO, 1.5 to 2 hours away. I would meet that client and then I would go back home. Grabbing dedication, I would say. And when you're starting out, go ahead and hustle talaga. While you have that energy, while you have the time, really put yourself into that work. So this is how I sustain myself. Nag-article writing ako, so I would have monthly income. And when I finally got better in the real estate industry, I slowly let go of my article writing because my real estate sales could now sustain me on a monthly basis. So a sales job can give you good money, I will say, with little capital spend. So tayo kasi, yun nga wala tayong capital, I'm assuming. So, yun, I would also suggest this way as well, sales. There's a lot of ways like real estate, there's insurance, yun nga, yung MLM, that's also sales. I'm sure there's other types of sales jobs out there na yung commission based. So, kasi, or maybe salary plus commission, pwede din. Because unlimited yung range ng income mo eh. So that's how it is with real estate. As long as the more that you sell, the more money that you get. So this is really where I've flourished. So for the past 10 years, I've been a real estate broker. And at the same time, I'm now eligible to become a real estate consultant after I take the exam. Sa trabaho na ito, this is where I was able to buy my first car, where I bought my first house, which I flipped, and I bought a second house, and may condo na rin tayo. So, this is really the path that I got on to be. And imagine 10 years, that's 10 years of my life then. So, at first, racket-racket muna tayo, trying to find our way. And then when you find that right place, you really have to give that time, the attention, the hustle. Sa start, you really have to do it. That's what I'm gonna encourage you guys to do na. Hustle talaga, hustle hard at the start. And later on, it's gonna be easier, I tell you. It's gonna be a lot easier. Your life is gonna be a lot better. So, can anyone be a real estate broker? Kailangan ng, now, kailangan na siya ng 4-year course. Before yung time ko is hindi pa. We just needed to attend a seminar. But don't get discouraged because you can still be a real estate salesperson. And all you need is 2 years in college. And you need to be under a broker. And okay lang yan. Don't worry. Even if you're under a broker, that's actually a good thing. You just choose one that can be a good mentor to you. Yung type of broker who will really help you out, who will really train you, and who will really help you make those sales. That's the kind of mentor that you should look for. And later on, if you really want to be a broker, I'm sure there will be opportunities available because this is a new profession pa. And I know that the commission is looking pa for ways to accommodate more brokers in the future. So if you want, you can really, really start as a real estate salesperson. 1 day lang yan na seminar. Yeah, 1 day seminar and then you apply in PRC and you can start selling na as long as PRC, approves you na. So, pwedeng-pwede pa yan. Don't get discouraged with the 4-year course ng broker. Don't worry about that. May commission as a salesperson? Yes. Yes. If you sell as a salesperson, you're entitled to a commission. So that will come from your broker. So as you become better, you can also negotiate your rate. So ano difference from a broker? So yung broker, siya by law, siya yung dapat magsasign ng mga contracts ng mga authority to sell. But as a real estate salesperson, especially if you're doing project selling, if your broker is accredited with that real estate developer, as a salesperson, you can go ahead and sell those development projects by the real estate developers. Pwede din yung mga private resales din. Just make sure that your broker has that authority to sell. for that particular property. So, ayun, marami pang opportunities available for the real estate salesperson. And I've seen a lot of real estate salespersons, hindi sila broker, but they're very good at what they do and they earn a lot as well. So, okay na okay yan. So, eto tayo, ano? So, mga awards, mga this one was when I received the President's Award. Yung sa taas, yung may Golden Hammer Broker of the Year, may kasama pang GoPro, may kasama pang Apple Watch, maraming incentives sa sales. Guys, maraming incentives sa sales. And of course, if you want to take the business route, maraming ways, di ba? Maraming ways to make money. If you want to take the business route lang, siguro something that I would mention is yung tip number 4 ko. Start the affordable route. So, what do I mean by this? Start the affordable route. So, I'm gonna compare the two businesses that I've had recently. So, as a broker, I've been in the industry na for a while. So, naka-save up na rin. Meron na ring pera pang capital, ganon. Aside from the investments that I have. So, in 2018, 2019, we started two businesses. It wasn't intentional, but we started our property technology business called Brookie Technologies. That's our startup. And it's related to real estate. Because it came from my parang problem point as a real estate broker. Whereas, yung other business naman namin was a co-working cafe. So it was a coffee shop. A coffee shop which we started with other business partners. So yung coffee shop na yun, I'm not sure why, but a lot of people actually dream of having a coffee shop. Maybe it's the ambiance, maybe it's how we all like to work in Starbucks or work in Coffee Bean. So maybe there's that idea na parang ang ganda naman to have a coffee shop. And this particular business was opened up to me and my husband because we had these business partners who had that idea na why don't we make like a co-working coffee shop, tapos we're gonna combine it with their gaming na business kasi meron silang parang gaming na business. Internet cafe in a way. So for me, I was curious to start a traditional business. So when you're starting a traditional business, that is quite capital intensive. So for us, we made an investment in that because of course you have to provide the interiors, you have to provide that space na conducive sa mga tao, your equipment, the coffee machine itself is like 300,000. Yung all of the things that you need. So, meron talaga siyang money out. So, at this time, may pera na tayo pang-invest, diba? And I was curious on what it would be like to have a traditional business. So, on the other hand, i-compare ko yung startup. They started more or less at the same time. Again, it wasn't intentional. It just happened that way. Yung startup naman namin, sobrang liit ng capital, if any. Halos walang capital, just a little bit. And then we got into an accelerator called Idea Space. That's where I met Gian. And we got support from Idea Space that helped us also parang operate and move. And yung first client namin was the one that helped the salaries of our tech guys. So there's definitely a way to create a business with very little capital. So if I were to compare the two, yung co-working and cafe, capital intensive, whereas yung startup, halos walang capital out. And between the two, the one that took up a lot of time, a lot of energy, was the co-working cafe. Parang you always had to be there. You always had to do so many things with that cafe. And tapos yung startup naman, hindi siya masyadong ganun ka demanding of your time as long as you're able to set it up right. And between the two of them, in terms of opportunity to make more money, mas malaki pala yung sa startup. So sometimes we can have that notion na parang ang nice naman to open a traditional business that you need to have a lot of capital to make that business grow. Hindi naman kailangan ganun. Because between the two, mas okay, mas malaki yung income potential ng startup where we had very little capital out. So, yun lang yung isang, like the last step that I'm gonna give to you guys is to start the affordable route. Maraming ganyan. And I'd also like to share with you some stories as well, not from me, but from my friends. Kasi, like I said, we have different skills, we have different backgrounds. So, ano naman ginawa nung friends ko na ito? So, one of my friends was also a nurse, and she also realized na ayaw niyang mag-nurse, and she realized that she wanted to be a pastry chef. So, she took a short course, like a 4-month course. She used her savings from her sweldo as a nurse back then in the Philippines, ha? So, maliit yung sweldo ng nurse, di ba, in the Philippines. So, she saved up for her tuition for the 4-month course. And then, she interned in Shangri-La, I think Mactan, or somewhere, parang Shangri-La Mactan yata. So, after the 4-month course, she interned in Shangri-La Mactan. And then, the Shangri-La guys saw that, hey, she's good at what she does. And then, she was employed in Shangri-La Qatar. So, 'di ba, parang that was also a very different route for her to take. But it was a very good route din yung nangyari sa kanya. And it started also with her deciding to take that leap na I'm not going to be a nurse anymore, but I am going to be a pastry chef. I'm going to start with this short course. And of course, back then in your mind, who would have thought na mag-short course ako, and then all of a sudden I find myself in Shangri-La Qatar, working in Shangri-La Qatar. Tapos yung isang friend ko naman, also in the food business, he started with a food cart in the mall. Tapos yung initial investment niya was 30,000 pesos for like a simple cart. Hindi uh, yung super maraming tao na place, but it was sort of that parang, in a way, mercato style in a way. So, he started with 30,000 pesos. Yung gamit niya, yung thing that he was selling was parang rice meal na liempo and sisig. And he saved up from that. And then, parang he expanded into this other place na hindi rin siya a very maraming tao na place. But because he cooked very good food, by the way, hindi rin siya chef. It was just hilig lang niya yon. It was a skill that he had that he didn't know he had. Even on his wedding day, his father said, you know, I never knew that my son could cook it that way. So parang, like what I was saying, that sometimes you have skills that you don't know you have. So this guy, he was previously a med rep. Suddenly he decided he wanted to put like up a food cart because that's what he really wanted to do. And then he expanded into this small, parang eatery in a way. And he was discovered by this one guy who, shall we say, is a very prominent businessman here in CDO. Prominent talaga, the businessman. And he would go there every day to his eatery ng friend ko kasi ang sarap ng pagkain. And then this guy decided to invest in him. So ngayon, may mas malaking space na siya and mas malaking area na siya. So lumalago talaga tayo as we go along. As long as we're passionate about what we're doing and we really put in our heart and our soul into what we're doing. And I'm pretty sure that you guys have a lot of opportunities available to you. It just might not be clear to you just yet, but try to find that path by trying out different things. It's okay if you're really questioning yourself right now, saan ba ako pupunta? What am I supposed to do? That's a normal thing to feel. I've been there. But basta as long as you just keep on doing, like keep on trying, and then when you find that right place that you think that I think this is where I'm supposed to be, just work hard, hustle hard, and later on save up. So I think that's a different topic altogether, the whole saving up and investing type of mindset. And just save up, and then eventually you're going to be able to have more financial freedom as you go along in your life. So I think we've already reached 1 hour. So I know I have only 1 hour with you guys. And I really hope that you learned something from today based on the experiences that I've shared with you. And I hope it opened up your mind as well. Na, okay, parang pwede ko pala tong gawin, or this opportunity is available to me pala. And I would also encourage you guys to reflect on the skills that you have and the opportunities that's available to you, and go ahead and take that leap.
Yay! Galing naman talaga, idol ko talaga si Steph.
Yay!
Maraming salamat for sharing your experience, what you've gone through, your background, and also
The
your ano,
early
your
days.
Oo, the really day. I think dating not maganda yung mga maganda kasi yung sinabi mo that you start the affordable route. I mean, sometimes we think very big kagad. But actually something that is actually small that doesn't require even like zero capital. Ano meron ka lang sa bahay. Kaya magaling kang magluto, marunong kang magluto, gumawa ka ng magbenta ka ng ano, magbenta ka lang sa Facebook ng mga luto mo. Pwede na magsimula doon, pwede ka na kumita doon eh. Di
Start
ba?
where you are.
Yeah. So I hope that you guys, the students, actually enjoyed today's mentor sessions online class. If you have any questions, just throw it away to me and I'll pass it on to Steph. Madami kayong matututunan dyan. In fact, ako matagal ko nang interesado sa real estate. Kaya tinatanong ko kanina.
Yeah, di ba?
Tsaka ako
Maging
magiging
real estate influencer ka, di ba?
yun ang balak niya talaga pag pumunta ako ng CDO. Gawin niya ako yung taga live tour ng mga bawat ng mga bahay-bahay sa CDO.
Yeah. So,
Diba? Or tutuloy natin yung project na yan. Hindi, hinihintay lang ako ni Steph pumunta ng CDO.
come here na. Come here na. Magbabantay ka ni baby.
Oo, taga-alaga. Yun ang next job ko actually. Yun ang next job ko. Taga-alaga ng baby ni Steph. So I really do hope that you guys learned. And what she said also, like those are very good book recommendations. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a very good way to look at how mindset works, like our mindset works, and how we can shift from one quadrant to the other. Kasi natuwa nga ako doon kasi tayo ko din nabasa
Starter
yung book
books
mo.
din eh. Di ba? Starter
Oo.
books yung mga
Doon ko
yun.
na-refresh nga ako sa sinabi mo kanina about yung mentality about being in quadrant A, yung quadrant now you're employee, and then you're self-employed, and then ano isa, business owner,
Business and investor.
investor, yan. Gusto natin maging quadrant, yung sa pinaka-lower quadrant, yung ba yung pinaka-investor quadrant?
Investor.
Gusto natin na. So yun. Thank you so much guys for participating in this online class. I hope you guys learn. Next week we have Gia. Gia naman next week on financial. Ito maganda. So if you guys were looking for financial advisor and how you can actually plan out your money, like yung mga baon nyo or may mga extra na income kayo sa mga racket, ano yung mga next steps na gagawin. Yan, si Gia ang magtuturo sa atin yan next week. Mag-explain.
Parang tamang-tamang follow-up yun ah.
Oo, tamang-tama. Maganda kasi ito eh. You start something now and then pag minasave kayo next week, yun, pag-aralan nyo na kung saan siya lalagay. So anyway, so yun. So thank you very much, Steph. If you guys want to follow Brookie, Brookie is actually a real estate application. So it's a good thing that you can actually check them out. Madaming ano yan, madaming silang ano, madaming I think this is one of the new technologies that we don't have yet in the Philippines. So here's actually the Facebook page of Brookie. You can actually just click on that. You can actually just like it. You can like also the page, and so you can support si Stephanie on her startup company. May nasayang na nawala na yung coffee shop, no? Nakakalungkot.
Ah, yeah. Because of the pandemic. But
Oo,
you
wala
know
na.
what? When we decided to close, parang yung feeling ko is like, I think that's a better, parang nawalan ako ng burden. So, okay lang sa akin actually that we let that business go.
O kasi additional ano rin siya, additional
Took up
work
a
din.
lot of time.
Oh, additional time din.
A lot of time. Very time ano siya,
concluding.
demanding ng oras. Oh.
Yeah. Sige. All right, sige. Thank you so much, Steph. Thank you guys for joining. For all those who joined for this mentor sessions, maraming salamat. I hope you guys learned one or two things that you can start applying in your day-to-day life. Yan. So, Steph, may
Mm.
gusto kong sabihin sa kanila, mga last advice as a mentor.
Last advice, yun lang siguro, just start where you are. Like, you don't have to have so much capital to start with, or you don't have to, I don't know, do something extra special. Just start where you are, and it will snowball from there. Mm.
Yun. Yung gusto ko yung snowball. Sana mag-snowball na lahat. Ang mga ginagawa natin. Snowball to good stuff, hindi snowball to the negative stuff. Snowball to positive stuff. Ayun. So, yun. Thank you so much, guys. Maraming salamat. Steph, wag ka muna mag-log out. I-end ko lang yung broadcast. But yeah, maraming pagsalamatan natin si Steph for joining us. Yun, busy yan. Kakagaling nga niya kasi ng doctor kanina pa check up eh. So, binulabog ko. Uy. So yeah, thank you, Steph. Thank you, guys. I'll see you around. See you next week for another online
Bye.
mentor session. Bye bye.
Thank you all. Bye.